Yo, what's up, guys? Today we got DeFi Advisor. You guys probably know him as DeFi Advisor on Twitter, and I'm actually super excited to chat with this guy. How about you, Abs? What do you think? I
Oh
think this is
man,
going to be a good one.
I'm excited as well. I mean, we can kind of get different landscape views from him, and because I do see a lot of Arb coming up with he talks about Arbitrum, talks about Coinbase a little bit on his channel, and you have a very impressive following, 14,000 followers on Twitter. A lot of folks look to you to gain some alpha. If you wanted to kind of take this moment to kind of give a little background on like who you are and how you got into crypto, I think that's probably a good start to this podcast.
Hello, folks, first of all, and very happy and honored to be here and for the invitation. So thanks a lot, Drake, and thanks a lot, Hardapps. Very nice to have a talk with you guys. Looking forward to it. Actually, I started you want my whole crypto and DeFi story, or do you want the DeFi advisor angle?
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of start off with saying, how did you get into crypto first, and then, and what interests you to kind of move towards or this or that chain? Like, what are you looking at in terms of, what are you excited in this space?
Okay. Well, I can go on and on about something like that, but I will try to keep to the facts. I started being interested in crypto around the DeFi summer of 2020. I really only started caring about finance and stuff after everything started getting messy in 2020, and I started looking at the markets and stocks. I looked at Tesla and Square. I saw them making big moves. I realized it's a very different year than any other normal year, if there's anything like that. And it really drew a lot of my attentions. Definitely changed a lot of my perspectives have changed throughout these last few years. Like, I was definitely not the same. I didn't have the same mindset a few years ago on many topics, and I think crypto is a very big part of that, because I think it brings a lot of values that like crypto is very deep. Once you remove the first layer of, okay, we can make a lot of money here, and it's cool and stuff, and it's funny, and there's memes and all that, there are really some important issues at hand, like true financial freedom and a lot of new financial opportunities for different people around the world, and for global commerce and all kinds of stuff. And it really drew a lot of my attention. And I'm based in Israel, so at first I started doing all kinds of stuff here with it, and I really didn't know much, but you don't need to know that much in order to know a lot more than others about something like crypto. And after a while, let's say, the bull and the bear, we've all learned a lot of stuff there for sure. I definitely, that's when I got to know about you, Drake, by the way, because I used to check out some of your content in an earlier era, probably around 2021. Okay. And after around somewhere after all the Luna stuff, markets were down, and many people left the community, and crypto Twitter really started changing in a way. And also my own personal Twitter back then, it got messy. Like, it wasn't my crypto Twitter anymore, following only crypto personalities, and I kind of wanted it back. So I started this alt account of DeFi Advisor, and just started, following people and retweeting all kinds of stuff, and asking questions and whatever. It was in May of 2022. And, I just wanted to participate. in a way. Like I kept seeing all this amazing information and great stuff that people build and do and how they do it. And I just wanted to find something that I can bring to the table as well. And I was pretty convinced that many people will find this stuff that I find interesting as well. And actually started my blog there, which is another day in crypto. It's on my Substack, defiadvisor.substack.com. And that's really how I started getting to know a lot more people, and they started getting to know me. And it's definitely been fun. Like the response that I've been getting from the community is beyond amazing. Honestly, like my life is literally changing, and this is definitely becoming my career. I hope to write something about it soon. And like crypto is really a land of opportunities on many different levels. Not just you can buy something and it can 100x, and trust me, stuff can 100x, stuff can 200x. This stuff does happen, and I'm sure
Yeah.
like you guys know exactly that. And also, until it happens to you, you can't really realize it. Like at least I couldn't until it happened. But then there's another side, like stuff can go and divide themselves by 100 as well, or 200. And for sure, there's a lot of stuff to know and to understand from the investment side of things. But personally, I think there's such a greater opportunity in crypto in like finding your way in this new industry. To me, it's far more appealing, and that's where I'm headed, hopefully.
So why did you, well, I guess you kind of explained you got into it because you wanted your own basically what I look at you like is a aggregator for a lot of different Twitter accounts that are giving different news, and it helps me at least stay up to date. And I can kind of just look at your account and take a look at a couple of interesting things in the DeFi space. What qualifications or what things do you look for to be able to be like, yeah, that's something I need to retweet, or yeah, this is something that's really good. Like, what goes through your mind before you actually consider it something that is, hey, this is my content. This is the content I want to share.
That's a good question. Well, the personal, my own personal perspective is definitely the biggest part. Like, there's a lot of feeling into it. You know what I mean? It's not like something that I can say that is very a standard process or a factual stuff. Like, it's about feeling the news, finding stuff that I see that pop up and like I think that are interesting and might be interesting to others. And also, as I'm editing a specific edition or several editions sometimes, like what goes well with which story, because it's like there's so many news in crypto. I can never tell it all. I can only tell a fraction of what happens anyway. Like and there's so much stuff going on that I can think that I got the three biggest stories and everyone's going to be excited about it. And there's a whole another huge story that I still don't even know about, because
Right.
sometimes, crypto Twitter can be, on some days, it's like ecstatic. Like the amount of information is, yeah, I don't know, it's on a whole another level. And personally, for me, it's a lot about the feeling and a lot about how I try to do it in a way which is not too boring for me, at least. I don't want to just find a few tweets and which are not related to each other at all. I want to find, for me, what's best is I want to find some good discussions. Like if someone wrote a thread or there are some threads, that's great. That's great content actually, and I like doing this. I even do some special threads editions every now and then. But like the content I enjoy most is when someone tweets something and then someone replies and then another one replies, and I can like copy paste the whole conversation because I think it's a specific flow that can take the reader somewhere. You know, I feel it took miss, and mostly I think I'm thinking about what it's doing to me as a reader, and I try to bring it to my readers as well, because I know that most people, you know, they won't be on Twitter like some of us that are kind of living on Twitter, at least on a good day.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was talking to Drake last week, and we find that Twitter is the fastest way to any an update news crypto and Web3. And literally, we thought this podcast would be like, oh, we'll probably do once a week or twice a week tops, but finding ourselves kind of like reconnecting many times because there's a lot of things to talk about in crypto. There's different sectors to talk about crypto. There's, a current narrative that people are moving to, and AI is now implemented. And then there's a bunch of different types of, chains that need to be, they have their own individual ecosystem and updates within each. So there's a ton of information out there, and um, it's a lot to talk about, and it consistently evolves, right? Like you brought up a good point with DeFi earlier, saying that DeFi is 3 years ago, and it changes from how it was then, obviously, till now. Just between 3 years, we're sitting at a time where DeFi has evolved several different ways, and there's several different game theories out there, and it could be an opportunity for everyone to get into, whether if they're really really super low risk, or you can get the highest risk out there and become a degen, and chase those yields and all that. So there's a lot of information on Twitter. Yes, I do live on Twitter. Majority of my time is spent on Twitter because I need to understand and find out the newest alpha out there.
Yeah, for sure. Twitter is the place to be. Like personally, I think that without being on Twitter, I don't understand how you can really get a real glimpse of the general crypto community. Because your only other way is to be like a Discord and Telegram savage. If you're really everywhere and you're talking to everyone, like, because that's where stuff really happens. Like if you really want to get into the communities themselves, and that's a whole nother level for sure. But if like you want the public side of crypto, like the general side of like how everyone within the space interacts with each other, I definitely think the only real place this interaction itself happens is on Twitter, and that is why Twitter is the number one source of information about crypto, because it's there that you can find videos by Drake or announcement by protocols, or a thread that a threader wrote, or something the devs themselves say about their projects, or whatever is going on. And again, the amount of content is beyond comprehensible. Like we can do it 12 hours a day or 16 hours a day, and there will still be stuff to talk about. It's not gonna.
Yeah, and speaking of content, like, how do you start? Like, if you're just going through Twitter and you just see all this information, it's just like information overload, and you go through a death scroll, and you end up getting to the point to where it's like, okay, there's bullish things, there's bearish things. I don't know what to do. What do you use? Like, where do you start? Like, is it like, hey, I'm just going to research this protocol, or I just start scrolling?
Most of all, personally, I just scroll. Because I think that the scrolling, it's gonna take you places, and sometimes the timeline is kind of boring, and you're saying to yourself like, okay, I'm not sure, maybe I should do like more active searching about seeing some of the folks that I want to specifically look at what they're saying myself actively. Yet usually, you open your Twitter and you're already like starting to scroll, and you're like, oh my God, I can make like 5 editions out of it. Like, so now the question is different. Now the question is, how do I choose like which addition to do. And sometimes actually, it's not that it always feels the same. Like sometimes you feel like this addition went smoothly, like that story popped, I got it in. Another story which is related popped, I got it there, ta ta ta. And like everything clicks instantly. Yet other times it's different. And also I think that many days in crypto, like the name of my blog, they have their own vibes, even if it's not something which is a whole day. But like for example, take the Arbitrum airdrop. This is a day in which it's like it's a celebration, and this event, it changes the whole vibe of the community on that specific day, or in our case, maybe even on the day it was announced. Like there was a whole week that on my side of things, at least on my side of Twitter, it was Arbitrum airdrop week, and it brought like specific vibes and good energy. And of course that there are so many other stuff that happened that brought that to the markets as well. I'm not denying that, but I definitely think that some events are very impactful in a very horizontal way, and not just in a very specific way. Like a specific protocol is launching, so their community is really excited about it. Yet, most of the other people around the space don't really know that anything happens, and it doesn't it doesn't change the general mood of that day. If you understand what I'm referring to.
Yeah, that's a good point. So speaking of DeFi protocols, what protocols are you looking at in particular right now? Do you have some long-term plays you're looking at, or is this just like a quick flip? What are you looking at?
Well, I'm definitely a lot more into long plays. I'm not that good of a trader, and I don't really try doing that much. Maybe sometime in the future. Yet for me, it's a lot more about building positions in tokens or protocols or assets or teams, and a lot of the times it's all related. That I see as here for a really long run, that I think that are going to be here hopefully in a decade and more. And how do these positions today, even if they are small, even if I'm not, I'm not a big investor like many other people around the space. Yet also there are a lot of much smaller investors. That's one of the greatest things about crypto, actually. I think how the barrier of entrance is very low, actually, and also the cap of the cap barrier is also like pretty high, at least for many of us. Okay. So definitely, one of to me, it's mostly about long-term holdings. And personally, if you want to know my top three, in a way, I think the most important tokens from again, this is not financial advice, and I'm not an expert. I'm seriously
We're
not
top
an expert.
signal, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, no, because I want if anyone listens to it, like to know that really, like I say in the beginning of my blogs, this is for sure not financial advice, and for sure I'm no expert. Like this is not a meme. Like I'm actually saying it. Yet from my perspective, from my humble perspective, there are some tokens which are very much different than others. And for me, above all, of course, it's Ethereum itself. It's like it's the whole point. It's the new internet, and I don't understand how anything can work without it. So for me, above all, first of all, like the most liquid form of money that I've ever used, for sure, is Ethereum. I think also Link is something that I see again as another monopoly in crypto, because I don't really understand how stuff can really work without it. Like I don't see the proper replacement for it. even if we like take into consideration all kinds of criticisms that one can have about it. I still think that in the long run, I think it's going to be one of the most important layers. And another one, which in some ways it's like it's the one that on many aspects I like the most. It's Curve, because CRV. Because I think that the more you look at the
Curve.
more yeah, Curve. Because the more I look at crypto and the more again from my point of view, like it really seems that the most resilient protocol and the one that at the end everything like drains into, it's always Curve. It's the true engine of liquidity, at least in my mind. And I personally think that it's one of the longest plays in crypto. And to me, Curve is like it's basically DeFi. Like if something's not going to work with Curve, I think that it's going to symbolize a much bigger problem within DeFi. Yet I'm actually an optimistic. I think that Curve is like exactly what's gonna be built in a way, and is already being built, and in a way that will truly allow mass adoption for significant sums of money, like far beyond what we see now, within a truly decentralized finance. I think that with time, CRV-USD, the native and talked about CRV stablecoin, I think it's going to change the stablecoin game as well. Not that I know how or whatever, but I just think it's going to bring a different moat into the scene. And like again, like I said, for me, these are my top three tokens for the real long run. These are the only ones that I can truly say that these are really long-term investment. Now, of course, there are others, okay? Frax, for example, or Liquidity with LUSD and all kinds of interesting stuff. And really, we can get into it. I'm sure that you know hundreds of them and that I know quite a few as well. Yet, truly, it's not the same for me as these top three that I told. Like, about these, I'm the most convinced, because I really see them as monopolies within their narratives, or however you can call it. And do you guys know, I'm sure you guys know Peter Thiel. You know who he is?
Yeah, PayPal dude.
Yeah, for sure. So even if a lot before crypto, I used to see all kinds of videos of him, and there's a lot of stuff that he says like repeatedly. And one of them is about that, like that if you really want to be strong somewhere within a business, you have to find a way that you are some kind of a monopoly, because that's the best way to succeed. To find a niche, a specific niche in which you can be a specific kind of monopoly. And I can also give you this advice about, like this example, I'm sorry, for about what I specifically did with my blog. Like when I started doing this, I know that I don't feel like I can write amazing threads like many of the others, at least not as easily as I think some of them do, or as with that amount of output as so many others do, or a lot of video content yet. Maybe I will do sometimes, but yet like you or others within the space. And I did think about it that way I can find a niche which for sure I won't be a monopoly, but it's going to be like a little oligopoly of a few players, and that's really what happened. Because I'm sure you guys know Rick Diomedes from crypto Twitter.
What is it called?
There's a guy called Rick Diomedes. You know who he is? He has like a picture of him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's cool.
He's a Chad. Listen, this guy is amazing. For sure. He was also one of the people that helped me progress the most. And actually, he's the first, at least, that I know that did something which is kind of like I do as well today, like with his editions of the Daily Degen. Okay? He started doing it before I started doing mine. And it was definitely an inspiration for me. Okay? And I think that shortly after that, also Lynn started doing her own curations as well. I remember her following me even like before that. And now seeing her like rocket, it's amazing, honestly. And I think that in a way, and today also some others do it as well that started doing it a few months after us. There's Arndex, I'm not sure how it's called, with threading on the edge. There's Crypto Choreo. There are all kinds of interest. Hoim started, the Crypto Hoim started one now, the 7 Seas. Yet for sure, I think that we found a niche that was not too overloaded. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I got you. I got you. So that
So
makes sense. So do you play around with DeFi any, or are you just more of like a Twitter research look and then make your allocations based on that?
Definitely the latter, yet I do play around a bit, but only with sums that I know that I can play with. And I definitely think that, being a degen in crypto is a part of investing. Like for me, there's no real crypto investing if you're not degening into at least some stuff. Like that's a lot of the fun, and it's also a lot of the huge opportunity because, when it works, it works. Like, and it works like nothing else, to be honest. So definitely it's something that I also do, yet I don't discuss it as much. Like, for example, if I see something that I know that personally, okay, I'm buying it, but I don't really, now that I have okay, followers and community and that, I'm not so sure that I want to like to make it public that I'm doing it, or at least not in a way that I'm announcing it, because I'm not trying to shill anything or do it. And also, I'm not sure that it's a good investment at all. I'm just thinking to myself, for example, that, okay, to me, it's interesting enough that I want to try do something because I know that if it works and it's going to work. And definitely had at least one like that recently. And I think it's one of the most amazing things about crypto investments, like this degening to things and watching it work. It's surreal in a way.
Yeah, so do you
Yeah,
keep
no.
your finger on the pulse with the current news that's out there, right? Talking about Tether FUD or Binance with CZ and all that. Do you generally start your day off with that, or do you just primarily just focus on DeFi protocols and basically how they work?
Well, on most days, it's whatever the timeline shows me that is more present
Got
on
it.
that day. It's not necessarily. I used to be like, let's first talk about some CFI stuff, and then about DeFi. And sometimes I do it. Like if it feels right on that day, I do it. Yet I don't want to be obligated to it. I really want to, like I told you guys earlier. I think every day brings something different, and I enjoy my blogs the most when I feel they represent that.
Yeah, I don't want to be so doom and gloom whatsoever.
No,
Whenever I
no,
look at feeds and this and that, but I tend to try to kind of be realistic about it. How if I'm excited in some type of L1 or L2, I'm going to focus on that for the day. But generally, whatever that's the biggest news, I kind of gravitate towards because I need to understand and know where money's basically inflowing or outflowing from, right? And kind of seeing that you know, just kind of seeing like the price action, whether it's going up or down. I'm a big TA guy. I love technical analysis, and it kind of I primarily use it now because I've been burned in the past, but I primarily use it now for entries and potential macro exits. I'm trying my best to kind of get into the lowest prices, obviously, and sell at the top, but um, obviously it's a really crazy ride because emotions kind of get in there and it's really really tricky. But I think the general idea is that if you're very bullish on a project, it's stay with it, right? Not more so being like siloed or anything like that, and just but kind of keep your blinders on, but staying within that protocol or staying within that ecosystem would make you a little bit more successful when it comes to your investments, right? So I don't want to base my decision on, I'm gonna, if I truly believe in a project and a protocol, and I degen into it, or I just kind of throw money at it, I make sure that the price point is good. That's mainly my standpoint when it comes to getting into throwing money at it, really.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes it's hard, but
It's very hard. It's
discipline is
very
key.
difficult.
Discipline's key, man. That's what I say.
Yeah.
It's a
So
key in life.
yeah, it is. It's tough to kind of time your entries, and I think everyone's trying to do the same exact thing. But
Yeah.
that's why you have DeFi, which is probably the biggest component of DCAing, right? Like if you find your farm, your favorite type of yielding protocol, this is we're in a deep bear still. So it would make sense for you to farm. Are you farming currently, or you said that you were mainly investing? Are you staking those tokens as well? Like let's say the CRV tokens.
Yes, for sure. And CRV also, it has different wrappers. Like I think if you really want to hold the CRV directly within CRV as VCRV, I don't know. On my levels, I don't think it's still the way to go. Personally, I like exploring different wrappers of CRV, which is also, I think, an evolving industry. Like, I don't think the last word has been said in that game. And also, this game is actually changing. Like, it used to just be CVX CRV. Yet today, you also, not today, like for a long while now, okay, you have SD CRV and you have YCRV. And really, like, there's stuff to do with the CRV. And above all, like this model of VE tokens, for example, it's something that I find attractive because I want to build the positions which will really generate cash flow. And if I see a project like Curve, which I think that really is going to be generating revenue, I want a part of that revenue. I see CRV as the asset itself as a means for the revenue generated by it, not as a token I want to flip. You know what I mean? Like, because personally, I'm not that good of a flipper. And if you're flipping that, I would personally go for stuff that are even smaller, although I do personally, again, not financial advice, yet to me, CRV is one of the most undervalued tokens in crypto. I think it's far misunderstood, and I think it's in a way it's good because like if you don't need to know about CRV or if you don't understand even like its basic concept, because to really understand Curve is definitely something that I can't say I do. Yet I think it's just an integral part. I don't see anything being able to replace it. Like whenever things gets hard and liquidity is off the markets, the only place to go, which is really DeFi yet, is Curve. The only way, the only place for relevant liquidity is Curve. It shows resiliency, and that's why I find it so attractive. And don't get me wrong, like I'm investing in all kinds of these tokens, and for me this is like what I'm most excited about. I want to build a position and not really caring about the position whether it's locked or not. I want to be able to receive some of the revenue the protocol is getting, just like a business. Protocols are businesses, and if they
Yeah,
generate revenue, I want to have exposure to this revenue.
yeah. That was Noah Seidman's strategy too. We had him on the channel earlier, but he was like, yeah, he's extremely bullish on Curve, but he's like the type of guy that he looks for protocols that pay you. And with his position in Curve, he was just like, I just locked, set it, forget it, and just come back to it later, see what it does. But yeah, that makes sense.
He's a very big influence about me on that front as well. I definitely think that he presents a very mature way of looking at investing and a very calculated way. Really, I've just found out about him a few months ago, and really, I think he's one of the best content creators out there. I always enjoy sharing his stuff, and ever since I found out about him, I've been sharing quite a lot because really, I think he makes really top quality content.
Yeah, he's pretty good and knowledgeable. So a quick question for you. I know you already aggregate your own tweets and you share them with any of the people that follow you and view what you're doing. Um, for anyone who wants to be inspired by this or start their own Twitter or start their own YouTube channel, would you recommend that they do that, or what would you recommend a niche for them to start to grow a user base similar to what you have?
If someone feels that there's anything in crypto, like from a doing standpoint, that he thinks that can be relevant, I for sure encourage people to try. Like I know that if I didn't try, I wouldn't be talking to you like today. You know what I mean? I used to just see you online and watching your videos, and here we are talking. Why? Because I had an idea and I actually started doing something about it instead of just thinking, "Wow, wouldn't it be cool if?" and all that stuff. So for me, first of all, it really is about doing something. Like stuff doesn't happen in life in general. If you don't, if you're too passive, uh, you may very well be like you may very well not go where you want to go if you're too passive.
Yeah, missed opportunities if you're way too passive.
Yeah, and you will never also know if it can succeed. So only if you try, you get any general idea of whether, first of all, whether you like it or not. Because maybe you'll see that you don't even like it. So what's the point anyway? And also, you're going to get feedback, whether it's meaningful feedback or not, or a lot of feedback or not at all. But you're going to get something. And I do think that it's mostly about finding the niche in which you also think that you personally can contribute meaningfully, and also that you think that you can enjoy it a lot and understand it, understand why you're doing it well enough in order to do it continuously and consistently. Because again, without consistency and without doing something repeatedly, you just can't you can't see what it really what can really happen. Like if you try and grow a plant, okay, and you put the seed in the ground and you water it. If you stop watering it at some point, it's not going to grow like if you will water it, or like if it doesn't get sun, that it won't grow as if it got sun. So you have to do all that stuff and still hope that it will happen. And nature usually shows you that when you do when you create the correct circumstances, stuff happens. And that's why for sure, if it's like I said when we started the chat, to me, the biggest opportunity in crypto for many people is how they find themselves, how they can make a career into it. Not only what we do as content creators, as contributors to DAOs, as people behind the scenes, as builders, as I don't know what. Like there's just going to be more and more stuff to do within the industry as well. And like there are so many connections to be made. Like, now I look at my Discord. I know all kinds of people from the recent months. Like, it's amazing. It's like friends from all over the world, colleagues, people I work with. Sometimes you get along better, sometimes you don't. But there's a whole new world emerging, which, many people, they don't even know that it exists, and they don't even know how many opportunities there are within it. And I definitely think that like what we do, for example, trying to get the message out and helping or assisting people to look at all kinds of interesting stuff. I also think like, that's like our mission. It's great. And there's always room for more. Like if you're good, you're going to succeed, at least in my mind. So like if you're good enough, for example, look at Threaders. There were good Threaders many times. Okay, like I mean, long ago. And every few days, you find a new Threader that's like, oh my God, who's this writer? Like, this is like, this is academic stuff over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
So
you
there's
said
always room for
good
more.
you said a good thing about it kind of rings true. It's the idea that DeFi is only 3 years old, and for newcomers that are just simply holding tokens in their Coinbase account or their Gemini account, and they really want to get to and I understand the cautiousness behind it, right? The idea where, hey, what if I lose my tokens? What if I lose my, that $500 or $1,000 that I just invested just to hold
Yeah.
it? I said holding is not a bad idea. It's completely fine. It's been proven that it's been very lucrative, especially holding BTC and ETH over the last like 5-10 years, right? But if you just simply just go that one step further and just experiment, because DeFi is an experiment. If you take that one step further and simply just stake, right? That is DeFi, right? That's the building. That's like the smallest step you can make, and then you can say, whoa, like maybe I'm earning something right here just by holding and locking up my tokens for a little bit and staking these tokens that I'm actually holding anyways. Like if my plan is to hold tokens for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, might as well earn yield on it. So obviously, number one is to take your tokens off the exchange. I think that's kind of known now because of the whole FTX, collapse. Take your tokens. It's basically not your tokens if you don't have it and you're taking self custody of it. But take that extra step and potentially just experiment with it as well. Maybe 10% of your bag and just see where it goes. You made a good point with CRV. And you just simply stake, and if you just don't mind earning. I mean, I don't mind earning a steady 1 to 5% or whatever you're holding for a pair. You're still earning that. It's more than your savings account. And I've been telling a lot of folks, as I've onboarded a bunch of friends and family into crypto over the years, and they are scared to stake and they're scared to do DeFi, and it's completely fine. And I'm not going to push them if it's out of the comfort zone. But if you are looking to dabble a little bit, maybe get your feet wet a little bit and to stake, start doing there, and then start doing that, and then you'll see the benefits over a month, over 2-3 months. It's really interesting stuff.
Yeah,
And also, I'm sorry, Drake. I just want to say that, the people that had their money on FTX, they thought they were doing the safe thing, the safest thing. Like they thought we don't want to do it. So like the safety is quite an illusion with crypto and with money in general, because the people in SVB Bank, or how it's called, Silicon Valley Bank that just collapsed, they also thought that their money there. And like I don't know, have you guys ever seen like the? Oh, I don't know. There's someone on like a redhead guy. Maybe Moore is his name, Michael Moore or something like that. That he talks about gold and finance and all that stuff, and like how the real system about money. If you write on Twitter, on YouTube, something like the system of money, like pretty quickly you will find some. Mike Maloney. Mike Maloney is his name. Okay. So, and he discusses it a lot about how the system is not what at least I used to think it is. Like the money is not in the banks, like I thought when I was a child, and not even as a child, as a grown up. And once you start learning about it, then you understand that this whole thing is a game, which you need to find the safest ways to play it, because like most of the stuff that's considered safe is quite an illusion. And for me, it was also a process. At first, I used to like I wasn't sure about self-custody and if it's good or blah, 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 whatever. And I think that after about a few months or a year, I started like trusting self-custody more and more until it got to a point where I was like, okay, I don't want to have any money on exchanges, honestly. I want it to be completely like self-custody. I want my money in the bank to live my life for sure. Hopefully, amen. Yet my assets, my crypto assets, I want to hold them myself. And if I'm gonna tie them into something, it's probably gonna be a smart contract that I am trying to trust, and not a third entity that honestly I don't tend to trust that much.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that. I mean, I agree with you. Sometimes some people think they're doing the right thing or being safe, and it ends up turning out not so much. And it's always good to diversify and always analyze the risk accordingly. But DeFi advisor, man, I appreciate you jumping on. I appreciate you taking the time to chat a bit. I know we've been on for about an hour, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. But give us where are some places where we can follow you, where we can find your work and see what you're doing. And also drop me some links at the end of this video, and I'll go ahead and attach them to the video so we can get you some more user base.
Thanks a lot, guys, and really enjoyed the talk and appreciate the honor. And was actually for sure could have went on more and more. I just really need to also like go on a drive as well. I got another thing to do tonight. Yet hopefully we'll talk again, guys, soon. Actually, I really did enjoy it, and kind of thinking about some stuff that I will be interested in asking you guys. So maybe we can do some kind of Twitter space or something like that in the future as well, to hear some of your thoughts, and not only just like feeling that I'm doing most of the talking and not enough listening. You know, I like to also get the data in and not only out. And if you want to follow me, then for sure, it's on Twitter, it's DAdvisor, DAdvisor. And my Substack, you can also find there, it's DeFi Advisor with 2 O's, .substack.com. It's called Another Day in Crypto. For sure, subscribe. I put it usually every few days, but it depends on whatever I do with other stuff. Also want to give a lot of shout out to people that that are following and are part of a community and trying to do good stuff. Really, I think this is the main story. The faster we all understand that we are a big community, and that when we work together, we are stronger and we can get things done better, and we can be a catalyst for a bigger general crypto user base. I think it will be the outcome of all our joint efforts, both as builders and as community, as content creators and as writers and YouTubers and bloggers and whatever. And feel free to talk to me, to connect, to tag me on stuff. I don't always see it all, yet for sure I try to do it the best I can, and to bring interesting content for all of us.
For sure. We'll check it out. And anyone viewing, make sure you guys give him a follow, give him a subscribe to his Twitter, and check out his Substack. And if you guys are watching this video, make sure you guys go ahead and give a like and sub to the channel. And as always, like we always close out, we close with a wisdom one-liner. We're in Proverbs chapter 12, verses 19. This is truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts for only a moment. Be good, be truthful, man. Don't be lying. DeFi advisor, I appreciate you jumping on, man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys. Really enjoyed it. Thanks.
Thanks. Cheers.
Goodbye.